Here's something you don't see every day, and it's very rare for us to see one over here. This is a Discovery 1 or early Range Rover 300 TDI gearbox, and on it here has got an adapter to convert it to a Defender shift mechanism, because this shaft here is shorter because it had a different shift mechanism on it. There were several different shift mechanisms for LT77s and R380s depending on what car it was. Now I've just built this box up because it was there. It had some shonky Chinese bearings in, so I took it to bits and put some good used bearings in from whatever it was. Jobs I'd stripped down, but I kept the old bearings. And I also converted this to the heavy duty bearings because I had some casings left over. So what's the big deal? It's going to work, isn't it? Of course it is, yeah, it's going to work. But I noticed something when I was putting this system on here, that I have never seen this before in a Land Rover, so keep your eyes open for this. I don't think it's anything to do with this setup, but watch this when I was putting it on. You see it moving? Bugger. So I spent all that. I never checked that. And what it is in here, in this plate here, there is a machining piece, and you've got your detent springs. You've got one here and you've got one at the back, your spring and your ball, and that's it. But the thing is, you could think, oh well, I'll just machine it out and put a bushing in. There's more to it than meets the eye. Because, or alternatively, you could think, oh, I'll just put another plate on there, but you can't, because these are all line bored together. The aluminium one isn't, but the cast iron ones are all bolted together and machined from the factory and stamped to say that these two are matching pairs, not necessarily that one. I don't know why. Anyway, the problem is, if this is worn here, what's it like down at the bottom here? Because this is a long shaft that goes right through to the front of the gearbox here, and it's on a deep tube, because obviously you're moving this shaft backwards and forwards. You can't just put it in a little bushing, it's in a tube. So I am of the opinion that this is a scrap box. I'll keep this bit, you know, this bit's good, and all the gears and everything like that are good, and it hasn't got much. They've all got chatter. Can you hear that? I'm holding on to the output and I'm turning the input. It seems to be the nature of the beast, the oldest chatter. But anyway, let me go across and show you a gearbox that I've got stripped down, and I can maybe explain it better. Right, so I've moved the box a bit so you can see what the problem is. You can see there's a slot just here. Here. There's a slot there. You can see it there, look. Now, like I say, if you machine that out and put a bushing into it, all that's going to happen is that it's going to come loose. And how you're going to get the pin in, how are you going to get the pin to pass through it? This is a hardened pin, it's not just something that we could take out and push back in again. It's a bit of a conundrum. I don't know what to do. I think the casing over there, over that side there, which we've just looked at, is toast. So I got to thinking about this gearbox here. Repairing the shaft, the housing would be very difficult, and I don't think it would be cost effective, because like I say, you've got to make sure that this is line bored, and this one here for the, not that shaft, but the shaft inside that's turning it. But I thought to myself, this is a great little gearbox for sorting out the alignment of my extension housing here with the bigger bearings in, and my oil pump idea. So that means it doesn't matter how it changes gear as long as it moves. This housing here just dropped, boom, straight onto the dowels, no tapping, no banging, nothing. So I thought this is a good example. So if I have another housing that doesn't go on, I'll know that there's something slightly amiss. Now I want to tell you something. about that too, because I found out the hard way. Just let me get some bits. Right, you know I've had problems with these oil transfer rings. Well, I had Jeremy down the other day, and we think we can 3D print these in a different material, because these are really brittle. And when you put, so there's your bearing ring, and when you put your bearing on top, no, wait a minute, how's it go? It goes like that, look. You have a possibility of breaking this ridge here. Why? This only applies to non-standard bearings, and I found out something very interesting. On the inner race that goes on the main shaft, this is a critical diameter, this is a critical diameter, this is a critical width. But this bit here isn't. And I've had 3 different brands of bearings, all branded SKF, FAG, all sorts of different bearings, and they've all varied slightly. So I'm going to bite the bullet this time. What I'm going to do, next time we get some bearings, and we've got a standard ring, I'm going to get these turned to standard, all of them. Before we do anything, JP can put that in his machine, in grinder machine, and just take it down. We're only talking about 0.5 millimeter, but it's enough to break the plastic lip on here. So when you put these 2 bits together, if it's a little bit too big, you think it's going onto the dowels, and it isn't. It's going to break that ring. So I know this upgrade's doable, and with my idea of doing the oil pump, it does work. But I know a lot of people would like to do that, and that's why I keep banging on about this, because I found out a lot of mistakes. But I thought, yeah, no, let's build this box up. It's all shimmed up and ready to go, you know, so that if I have another housing machined, I've got one over there actually to go on. If I get another housing and it goes onto here, I know then everything's lined up perfectly. You know, the shafts are in line and the collar's in line. And then if anybody wants one of these housings, we can perhaps do an exchange service, so I know that I can fit one and I know it's going to fit. All you've got to do is take the old races off, put the new races on. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Just make life easier, that's all. So tomorrow I'm going to put this on the test bench. I think on my test bench I'm looking for things that isn't there. I can turn the gearboxes and make sure that the oil's circulating, get some of the bearings bedded in and things like that. But I can't really get rid of a clonky noise, you know, like that. You know, it's inherent. You can't get rid of it. It's just the nature of the beast. Funny, isn't it? And I mean, this is a wee bit tight because it's not been run yet, but they do once you've run them on the bench, they come nice and smooth. So I don't know, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree, but we'll keep this box here, and I think once we've taken this housing off, I may paint it red, so I can distinguish it between anything else, because it is an R380, but it needs a casing, and I have 4 or 5 R380s now, so I certainly don't need another one.